Okay, so if you've ever been plotting to invade France, a common activity of mine, you may have come across the issue of, well, how do we get through the Maginot? Now, we all know that taking a short detour around the Maginot yields pretty good results, but the Germans' original plan, at least in 1934, was to just bust their way straight through the Maginot. To do this, they commissioned the big boy military company Krupp to build them a gun that could break apart the Maginot's forts. An engineer named Erich Müller looks at the Maginot, does some math, and goes, damn, that's gonna have to be a big gun. Then the entire project kind of goes into limbo for whatever reason, until 1937, when the plans for this gun were finally drawn up and approved. Now this thing was actually massive, weighing 1,350 metric tons, or for all the Americans in the audience, 611 Ford F-150s, and it was able to fire 7 metric ton shells, or 3 Ford F-150s, making this the biggest gun that was ever made. Okay, so that sounds pretty good, right? Order a couple of these bad boys, send them to the border with France, get them set up, and the Battle of France already happened. Yeah, like a lot of German things, this thing got bogged down by loads of development issues, so the 2 guns that they ordered weren't able to be fielded until 1942. But at least now they can go to the Eastern Front. See, the reason why the Gustav Gun sucked on the Eastern Front was because this thing is a pain in the ass to move around. Transporting it requires a kilometer worth of trains, in its disassembled form. It's even worse when it's set up, actually, because it's so massive that it needs its own set of custom rails that you need to build everywhere you want to move it. Now, this isn't the biggest deal in Western Europe, because Western Europe's pretty small and concentrated, but the Soviet Union's huge. And the longer distance you have to travel with this thing to get to the front is also a longer distance to get back to the factory for repairs, which, because it's German, it happened a lot. Okay, so 2 of these guns actually got made, Sheva and Dora. Dora didn't really do anything, so let's talk about Sheva. It participated in the latter half of the Siege of Sevastopol and did some damage. It blew up an undersea ammunition magazine, which is kinda cool. And it did some other stuff, but in all honesty, it probably would have been better to just put the Gustav Gun's resources into a bunch of heavy artillery or something. It probably would have had a more meaningful effect. Yeah, after Sevastopol, Sheva goes back to the factory to get its bailover lined, because again, it's German. Went to a location near Leningrad so that it could be used for the siege there. Didn't actually do anything, goes back to Germany, and was blown up by the Germans in 1945 to prevent its capture. Yeah, I think they could have used the steel for this thing to make canteens or something, and it would have had a bigger impact on the war. Yeah, so that's a Gustav gun.